Perfect, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and then welcome to the regular scheduled Taber Town Council meeting for July 21st, 2025. We first off have a subdivision authority meeting, so I will call that meeting to order and request an adoption of that agenda, please. Councilor McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move we adopt the agenda as presented.
Motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. And just to confirm, do we have Councilor Firth online with us yet? Pardon me? Yes, I believe she's supposed to be attending. Mr. Tebow?
Yeah, she should be attending remotely. We did have the GoToMeeting links go out to her.
Okay, we'll give you a few minutes if need be there, Jordan. No trouble.
Oh, medals.
All right. Councilor Firth, can you hear us all right? Councilor Firth, we're getting a lot of background. Can you hear us all?
I can hear you, yes. Can you guys hear me?
All right, thank you. I don't know if that's our static, our end, is it? Can we? Yes, I can hear her, but can we get rid of that static? No, it sounds like it's our, is it our end, Jordan? It's not. Oh, okay.
No, it's mine. Wait, hang on.
Is that better?
That's lots better. Yes, thank you. Thanks you, Councilor Firth.
Okay.
And just to confirm, we do have Councilor Firth online virtually with us now, so we do have all 7 members here. So we'll carry on with that subdivision authority meeting. And on to agenda item number 3, adoption of the minutes. Mr. Tebow.
Administration has nothing to add to the minutes. Back over to the council.
All right, any questions arising? Councilor Beckering?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm prepared to make a motion
Very well.
that the subdivision authority adopts the minutes of the regular meeting of subdivision authority held on June the 23rd as presented.
Motion on the table. All in favor?
In favor.
Carried unanimously. Thank you. All right, on to item number 4.1. Mr. Tebow.
We'll have Ms. Selena Newberry and Ms. Hillary Jansen come forward and provide council information.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for having us. So today before you, we have a subdivision. This one's a little different than what we normally see, as it's something that's called a title in 2 parts. So we're not actually creating any new lots. We're just taking this little parcel that's highlighted in blue kind of on the south side, and then that other little piece that's highlighted in blue towards the north, they're actually one title. So what's happened is throughout time, subdivisions have happened out of the main quarter section, and they've been done descriptively, and this is kind of the last little bit that's left over of that original title. So we're just looking to create 2 new titles so that if we go to sell one of those portions, we don't sell a portion that we're intending to be part of our roadway in the future.
All right. Fairly straightforward, I guess, overall, basically, right? Okay. Any questions arising? Councilor Rufford.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I can make a motion that the subdivision authority approve subdivision TT 25-0-007 block C1 plan 7819 AQ section 8 TWP 10 Range Road 16 west of the 4th Meridian with the following 6 conditions.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor?
In favor.
Carried unanimously. Thank you. There must be a slight delay, I guess, with the distance between us. All right, no trouble. All right, on to the next item.
Okay, so Mr. Mayor and councilors, this one is a little pretty much similar to the last one. Same idea. It's a title in two parts. Over time, it was subdivided out descriptively. And so now we're left with the piece to the south and that little piece of the roadway in the north are still on one title. So we're just looking to subdivide them so that if we want to sell that piece to the south in the future, we don't accidentally end up selling part of our road right of way.
All right, thank you once again. Very similar, correct? All right, any questions arising? Councillor Sorensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd be prepared to make the motion that the subdivision authority approve subsection TT 25-0-006, Block X, Plan 5440 AQ, the southwest quarter of Section 8, TWP 10, Range 16, west of the 4th Meridian, with the following 6 conditions.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor?
In favor.
Carried unanimous. Thank you. Just ask for motion to close the subdivision authority meeting, please. Councillor McLean, motion on the table. All in favor?
In favor.
Carried unanimously. Thank you. And we'll formally open the regular scheduled Taber Town Council meeting. Call that meeting to order and ask for the adoption of the agenda as amended. Councillor McLean?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that the agenda is adopted as amended to undertake agenda item 8.1, the delegation of Alberta municipalities update, immediately following agenda item 3, public hearings.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor?
In favor.
Carried unanimously. Thank you. All right, first off, we have public hearing on 3.1, public hearing land use bylaw amendment 13-2025. Just to understand that members of the public in attendance who wish to speak against or for land use bylaw amendment 13-2025 for text amendment will have a 5-minute limit for speaking and must state their full name for the record and also must state if they are speaking for themselves or on behalf of any group or organization. Mr. Thibault?
Just as a reminder for council, the first reading of this did happen and the public consultation has gone out, so we'll get Ms. Hillary Jansen and Selena Newberry to come forward again and speak to council.
All right, thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council.
Good afternoon once again.
So before us today, we have a public hearing for a land use bylaw amendment. We did do our first reading for this on June 23rd. And as it is an amendment to our land use bylaw under the Municipal Government Act, we do have to have the public hearing. We had advertised it in the paper and put it on the website as per the requirements, and we have had no comments come in at this time.
All right, thank you. With that, is anyone present wishing to speak against land use bylaw amendment 13-2025? Anyone wish to speak against land use bylaw amendment 13-2025 a second time? Anyone wish to speak against land use bylaw amendment 13-2025 a third and final time? Seeing none, all right, thank you. Anyone present wish to speak for land use bylaw amendment 13-2025? Anyone present wish to speak for land use bylaw amendment 2025 a second time? Is there anyone present wish to speak for land use bylaw amendment 13-2025 a third and final time? All right, seeing none. Just ask for motion to close the meeting. Councilor Renfro. All right, motion on the table. All in favor, sorry. Motion on the table, all in favor? Carried unanimously, thank you. Mr.
In
Thibault?
favor.
Thank you. Mr. Thibault?
I believe we should be having a recommendation for receiving the information from the public, even though there was none, Mr. Mayor.
All right, also, so, okay. Yes, we can do that. All right, yep, that's fine. It's fairly, yeah. No, we'll just go back, just ask for a motion for that to be accepted as information, anybody that's willing. Councilor Beckman?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In my opinion, the previous motion should be rescinded.
All
Should
right,
be a
okay,
rescindment of the motion.
okay, all right. In favor of that?
I'd like to rescind my motion to close the meeting.
Very well, okay. All right, Counselor Sorensen. You were first. Yes, okay, all right. Well, no, actually, it was rescinded. Sorry, you're right, sorry. That is correct, yeah. You're not withdrawing the motion, so you were rescinded. So yes, we do have to vote on that. Motion on the table, all in favor? Carried
In
unanimously.
favor.
Thank you. And now, information. Anyone that's willing to put forth that motion. Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council accepts for information the input received at this public hearing for Land Use Bylaw Amendment 13-2025 for a tax amendment.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor? Carried
In
unanimously.
favor.
Thank you. Now, a motion to close the meeting, if you will, please. Councillor Bruin.
I'll make the motion that we close the meeting.
Motion on the table. All in favor?
In favor.
Carried unanimously. Thank you. On to item 3.2, we'll call that public hearing to order. Again, once again, members of the public in attendance who wish to speak against for direct control application DP 25-102 will have a 5-minute limit for speaking and must state their full name for the record, and also must state if they are speaking for themselves or on behalf of any group or organization. Mr. Tebow.
As you can see, Hillary and Selena stayed put, so we'll get them to talk to council about this one. This is another slab on grade. I was hoping that we weren't going to have to see another one of these, but they came faster than we could get the bylaw amended, so here they are.
All right, thank you.
So, Mr. Mayor and Council, before us, we have a public hearing for a slab on grade home. If later on in the meeting, second and third reading are given to our bylaw amendment 13-2025, then this almost would become a moot point. But in case that didn't happen, the applicant asked us to bring this forward so we could continue forward with their application. We've sent out letters to everybody within 100 meters of this. We've advertised it in the paper. It's been put on the website, and we haven't received any comments at this time.
All right, thank you. With that, does anyone present wish to speak against direct control application 25-102? Anyone present wish to speak against direct control application 25-012 a second time? Anyone present wishing to speak against direct control application DP-25-102 a third and final time? All right, seeing none, anyone present wish to speak for direct control application DP 25-01 or 25-102 a second time? Anyone wish to speak against, or sorry, for direct control bylaw a third and final time? Seeing none, all right, someone prepared to make that motion for information? Councillor Sorensen?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion that council accepts for information the input received at this public hearing for direct control development application DP 25-102.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously.
In favor.
Thank you. And someone prepared to make the motion to close the meeting? Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that we close the meeting.
Motion on the table. All in favor?
In favor.
Carried unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. All right, with that, we have amendment item motion 8.1, delegations, Alberta municipalities. Mr. Tebow.
Council, we have Deborah Reed Mickler, who's here, and from Alberta Municipalities, and she's going to come and provide us with a presentation. So Deborah, you can come up. You can stand at the podium or sit down. Okay, and turn the mic on, and I didn't know if you needed me to navigate anything. No, I guess there isn't a presentation
There you
here,
go.
is there?
You're live. That's right.
Well, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Welcome.
Your worship, councillors, Tabor, it's great to be here. I drive to Tabor a lot, so this was an easy ride for me. I want to thank you for inviting me today, letting me come and address you, and also for rearranging your agenda so that I could be here. I am, like many parents in the summer, juggling kids and schedules and driving around the province. So I really appreciate the fact that you were able to amend a little bit to allow me to be here a bit earlier. I'm going to provide a very quick update on what we've been doing with our municipal summer leaders tours, just so you know what's going on. Before I do that, I'd like to say part of the purpose of us doing this, to get out to see all of you, is so you can start to see faces, like other than in boxes, real people, real connections, and basically make that connection with all of you so that you know you have a person you can turn to. And I've left my business card with CAO Thibault today, and a couple of little treats for you all. But it's really just allowing you to see me and then go, okay, I know Deb, I can reach out to her if anything comes up or you want to question anything that you see that comes out of Alberta municipalities. So this is a fairly new initiative that we've been driving, several of us, and we're finding that it's getting very good reception. So over the last month or so, we were doing a lot of summer leaders one-day events. I don't know how many of you managed to make it out to any of those. Councillor Sorensen, yes. And Councillor Ackerman sends his apologies for not being able to be here with me today. So we were presenting a lot of information on our municipal finance research project, which we've been doing on behalf of municipalities to try and be able to package up messages for the media, for our residents, and for the provincial government about the realities of municipal finance. And I'll tell you, we all hated that title because it sounds unwieldy, so we're right in the middle of retitling it. I just got an email just before I left to drive down here today saying, what do you think about this title? Because we already vetoed one. So it looks like we're going to have a new title. It's going to be very catchy. It'll be very media friendly. And the purpose of this is to actually collect data and information about real, actual situations that all our municipalities are facing. Because we know we all have the same sort of challenges, but our realities can be quite different. My reality in the village of Dutchess is a little different from the realities in the town of Taber. Your realities are probably different from the town of Airdrie, or the city of Airdrie, or the town of Cochrane. So it's really about collecting that data and being able to present it in bite-sized, manageable pieces. So excited to say we're about 3/4 of the way through that now. We've got a lot of really, really good visual material that we're going to be sharing with all our members that you will be able to use to send out to your to your residents, that clearly identify how much they're paying for what services they're getting in a municipal context, and what, quite frankly, what great value we add as municipalities, because we all know this is a thankless task sometimes. So pretty excited that that's coming forward. We did present some of that material. I didn't want to take up too much of your council time today, so I didn't bring the whole presentation, but happy to share that with you and send it to CAO Thibault, and he can share it with all of you if you're interested. So that's going to be coming down the line. Keep your eyes open for it, because I think it's going to make a lot of our lives a lot easier when we're talking to our residents about taxation and where their dollars are actually going, and what the stresses and strains are on municipal taxation right now. We also did a lot of work on the changes to the Water Act and the amendments that are coming down, particularly with respect to license transfers. We are still collecting data from municipalities, so if you do have information that you want us to consider with those submissions going into the government, please do share them with us. We've taken a lot of municipal feedback so far, and all of that will be part of our submission that goes into the province. Recall legislation, we knew this was coming. Luckily, we were prepared. The government indicated that they would not be doing anything on this until next year because it wasn't urgent. However, at the board level, we decided that we know that this government likes to move quickly, and we wanted to be prepared. So we instructed staff to pull together our proposals, gather information from our members. What does this mean? How can we influence those regulations that come into place? And thankfully we did, because they just announced, I think 2 weeks ago, that they were going to do the consultation over the summer, of course, and they were intending to put regulations in place in September. So we are on top of the recall legislation. So if you've seen any information about that in the press, be assured that Alberta Municipalities is on top of that, and we will be making sure we get in front of the minister and present those our proposed legislation rules that we would like to see on behalf of our members. As you all know, we've got an election coming up. There are a lot of election resources that we're doing through Alberta Municipalities and in partnership with our friends over at RMA this time. So you might have seen a couple of the videos that are floating around, day in the life of a councillor, what it means. Absolutely, if you've got people that are looking for information, these are great resources. We're also hosting live webinars in which our board members are put to the sword by members of the public about what it actually means to be a councillor. I think I go on the chopping block in September at some point, so that'll be my date to take the grilling. They are a very good resource though, so feel free. There's a lot of resources that we've got to really explain, and I will share one sort of good story. We had one community reached out to us because they had a couple of people running on a slate in fact, it was 3 people running on a slate to fix immigration and amend healthcare in their municipality. So we were able to work with the municipality to get those people to attend one of the webinars, and very clearly and very friendly manner to talk about what we actually do. And they were able to attend that and ask us questions. It went very well. They were very pleasant about it, had no idea that they were not going to be able to impact immigration in any way. The result was one of the 3 is still running, but the other 2 stepped aside and said, well, no, this is... So we were able to say, that's something that you can take up elsewhere. So we're hoping also that by doing this, we're enabling you to be able to put a very strong council team together. So that's really all I'm going to highlight of what we've been doing. I will say summer is very busy with this government. I'm 2 years up in November in my term on the board. I also serve as vice president at the moment, so I will be in the elections again this year. When I first came onto the board 2 years ago, I actually spoke to a lot of the current board members, and I said, so how does the year look? How much time commitment is it? How much time do we have to put in? And they were, oh yeah, it's quite busy at this time, but you always get summers off. Mm-hmm. So we got to last year, and we went right through the summer, and my 2-week blocks of time that I'd had went down to 1 week, 3 days, 2 days. And so we got to the end of the summer, and I said to them, what is going on? They told me nothing went on in the summer. This government likes to work in the summer. So we can look at that in a positive way. Things are getting done at the provincial level. It does mean that we can be very, very busy, and I came off a viability review with Municipal Affairs first thing this morning. We've had the service levels for the fire department engagements going on. We've got police funding engagement going on, and they also want to do engagement imminently on recall legislation and any changes that we've started to see that are arising from the new elections regulations. So if you're seeing issues with that CAO already, please reach out to us. So yes, it makes us very, very busy. That being said, October elections, my hat goes off to you and my hearts go out to you if you're running again. This is a thankless job, and it's a commitment to our communities that we all do it. Anybody that's not running again, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your commitment and service. I will say that we will be opening committee spaces this October. If you're interested in being more hands-on with Alberta municipalities, I recommend signing up for a committee. It's a great way to get to know what we do, really what we do, and how it affects the advocacy we do. And I will say there are some changes coming to the committee, the way we do committee meetings. We have had some feedback, especially from us in the south that have to travel to Edmonton. So we're looking at making changes about virtual versus in-person. And also we've tried virtual meetings, but a whole day, if anybody's ever tried to do a whole day on a virtual meeting, it kills you. So we're looking at maybe splitting those virtual meetings into 2 half days to make them more manageable for people and also for people's schedules. So if you have a burning interest in something in the municipal world, please put yourself forward. When you do the committee applications, please give us as much information as possible. And I'll tell you why, because when we're doing, and it's a fun activity, we have a big room and we have Post-it notes all around it. And there's a lot of horse trading of people that goes on. I want her, I want him. Can I have him? What we try and do is have every committee a balance of representatives from all over the province and all sizes of municipality. So when I say there's a lot of horse trading. But the great thing is if you give, the more information you give us, the easier it is for us to find a place where you can really be effective and enjoy the work that you do. So that's all I'm going to say, but I'm happy to take any questions to me, anything you might have of what we're doing, or if you've seen anything recently that you want clarification on. I will say if I don't know the answer, I commit to getting you the answer and getting it back to you as soon as I can. And I'm pretty good at that. So once again, thank you for having me. My name is Deborah. For those of you that haven't met me before, your town south rep is Councillor Ackermans from the town of Colehurst. I cover a lot of his towns for him now because he has a full-time job and a young family, and I'm sure all of you know how that can be challenging. So I step in and help him out whenever I can, but we work very much as a team and a partnership. So if you can't get hold of Scott, you get hold of me, and vice versa. One of us will help you. So I'll open it out, Your Worship, if there's any questions.
Thank you so much, Deb, for your presentation. Appreciate that very much. Councillor Beckering?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Deb.
Thank you.
I'd like just to address for a moment the electronic tabulators. I know it's a done deal.
Yes.
I know it's very controversial. Not to put you on the spot, who in the heck instigated that ridiculous regulation? It's very costly, and it's going to be late with tabulating the final results, which people don't like.
It's going to be very late. And there's some potential for 3 to 4 days before they actually know the results. If they've got big, lengthy numbers of people running. That, I have to say, came straight out of the UCP. It came off the UCP resolutions floor. It's in their resolutions book. I read it. The concern that the UCP members had was that these could be hacked and results changed. Unfortunately, I think a lot of that was based on technology that's being used in the US and not being used here. What we are hoping to do, and Alberta Municipalities has not let this one go. Unfortunately, at the moment, as you said, it's done deal. There's nothing we can do. But what we do want to do is collect that data post-election to create a really good message back to the government so we're looking for costs, time, convenience, inconvenience, challenges. So anything that happens within your election that could have been mitigated by using tabulators, please document that and share it with us, because we will be taking that. And in fact, the previous Minister of Municipal Affairs did ask for that. So we're hoping the new Municipal Affairs Minister, Minister Williams, will also be looking for that information post-election. So it's a done deal right now. We're not going to let it go because it is, I think one of our communities actually added up how much it was going to cost them, and it's in the vicinity of $250,000. So,
All right.
Great question.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Councillor Sorensen?
Thank you, Mayor. And I did attend the summer, one of the leadership caucuses, and I want to thank you all for coming together and getting the voice of, all the different groups and townships. And I can see that there's a benefit of giving our voice, and then you guys collectively going to the government and advocating for all of us. So, you know, instead of just our problem, it's a united front, and everybody is having the same problem. And I can appreciate the collective bargaining that you're doing on our behalf. So thank you for that. And we need more tax funding, so more money.
Absolutely, yes.
Yes,
Thank you.
and we even managed to get that into the viability review meeting this morning, so don't worry, we're on it.
All right, thank you again. Any other questions whatsoever? All right, thank you once again, Deb. Appreciate that again.
Thank you very much again for your time. Really appreciated getting to see you all in person, and look forward to any of you that are rerunning. If you're coming out to convention, please come find me. Convention can get quite busy for us, but so I don't always get around to see everyone, but come and find me. I'm usually findable, because they have to stick me on stage at some point. I don't know why. I always say, no, I don't need to be up there, but apparently I always end up there. So I am easy to find, and please come and see me, and anything that happens in the meantime, you know where we are, you know how to reach us, and we're there to help.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Deb.
Thank you very
You bet.
much.
All right, moving on to item 4, adoption of minutes. Item 4.1, minutes of regular meeting of council, June 23rd, 2025. Mr. Tebow?
Administration has nothing to add to the minutes. Back over to council.
All right. Anything arising? Someone make that motion? Councillor Sorensen?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make the motion that council adopts the minutes of the regular meeting of council held on June 23rd, 2025 as presented.
Thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor?
In favor.
Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item number 5, business arising. There are none. Bylaws, item 6.1, second and third reading, land use bylaw amendment 13, 2025. Mr. Tebow?
So if council recalls, the first reading did happen to this. The public hearing took place, and administration can field questions, should there be any questions from Hillary or Selena could field those questions. So back over to council.
All right, thank you. Any questions arising? Councillor Renfret?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I can make the first motion. Make a motion that council gives second reading to bylaw 13-2025 to amend land use bylaw 13-2020.
Thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor?
In favor.
Carried unanimously. Thank you. Councillor McClayton?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will give the second motion that council, I move that council gives third reading to bylaw 13-2025 to amend land use bylaw 13-2020.
Thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor?
In favor.
Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 6.2, proposed land use bylaw amendment 15-2025. Mr. Tebow?
This land use bylaw amendment, we're looking for first reading on. And this is a follow-up on a land sale that council has already approved. And this is sort of next steps for the rezoning. So I'll ask Selena and Hillary to come forward and go through it for us.
All right, thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council.
Good afternoon.
So this particular land use bylaw amendment is looking to rezone a piece of property that the town currently owns. We did see this property a little earlier in the meeting as part of one of those subdivisions. But with this, we're also looking to rezone the lots that are on either side of it. So it's 3 lots, and we're looking to rezone it from what it currently is, which is medium industrial, into institutional recreational. So just for future development of the area.
All right, thank you. Any questions arising whatsoever? Councillor Renfret?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Selena. All the green stuff is IR, right?
Through Mr. Mayor to Councilor Renfret, correct. Anything on that map is green. There is a little section over on the west side that's actually been rezoned and should be a different color because it is now the higher residential, the R4 district. It just hasn't been updated in our GIS yet at this point. But there is a significant amount of IR in that area. And you can see to the south, there is an IR parcel in amongst that lighter pink. And that would be for something that we would probably classify as like a group home home in that area. So like Linden View, Clearview Lodge, the women's shelter, different things like that. Other uses as well.
All right, thank you. Counselor Sorensen.
Just a comment. I am a bit concerned whenever we put IR into light and medium industrial. I don't know what the use is, but, there could be potential complaints of noise or, certain industrial setting applications that might bother this type of change. So I'm just a bit worried about changing it from medium, like it's not even light industrial, it's medium industrial, to IR.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Tebow, can you add anything to that at all? I guess like bottom line is the green is also IR, so this is just across the roadway from that other IR land, correct? As Councilor Renford asked.
So, Mr. Mayor, through to Councilor Sorensen, most of the uses in our institutional recreational are discretionary, and there is a process that goes through with those. Schools are one of the uses that aren't. So that there's just a few uses that are permitted where if they apply for them, we'd have to give them. Most of the uses are discretionary. And they would be going into an area that's already zoned as M2. So it's different if you buy a residential property and then you try to rezone it to have something like industrial next to you. But if you're rezoning something, they already know it's industrial next to them at this point, the person who's looking to purchase the land for whatever they're doing to develop. So they would already have that understanding that that's the existing condition. I'd be more concerned if it were all IR around it when we were looking to rezone it to the medium industrial maybe, and the noise and stuff from that. So there will be a public hearing for this if it does receive first reading, and notices would be sent out to all the adjacent landowners, and so people, and advertised in the paper, people would have the ability to come and speak at that as well if they had concerns and things in that regard too.
All right, thank you. Councilor Sorensen?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I can appreciate the comments, and that makes sense. On the flip side, if it was reverse, if it was IR and then moving back to medium industrial, then maybe
Right, yeah.
So it does make sense. Thank you for clarifying
Okay,
that.
perfect, thank you. Any other questions? Councilor Beckering?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Prepared to make a motion
All right,
that the council gives first reading to bylaw 15-2025 to amend land use bylaw 13-2020.
great, thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor?
In favor.
Carried unanimously, thank you. On to item 6.3, first reading for control and prohibition of exotic and wild animals bylaw 16/2025. Mr. Tebow.
Council recalls, council had asked administration to go away and do a little work on the idea of honeybees in the town. And so we'll have Mr. Egan come forward, and he can speak to the findings on this one, and council can ask questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Egan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor and Council. Today we're here on a follow-up from the May 26th council meeting, where council directed administration to create a trial period. In order to do that, we had to modify the existing bylaw, mostly by removing section 7, which prohibits the use or the either hobby or commercial beekeeping in town. So in the attachment that you've got to this RFD, you'll see some strikeouts, removing section 7, the previous section 7, and substituting the direction from council to administration in general to conduct a 2-year trial and then report back to council with findings. The other thing that you'll find in the RFD was a quick survey of similar communities and some adjacent communities where, in general, we found that most communities don't have anything in the way of of specifics. Some do prohibit commercial-related beekeeping activity, so they want to keep it in town or city limits to hobbyists. And then a few require business licenses. Everyone requires, and of course the province has a Bee Act, which is there to protect the commercial industry in the province, which is the largest in Canada, from contamination and things that hobby beekeepers might bring into the province unknowingly. So other than that, at this time, the bylaw is amended to allow that trial to take place. Part of the trial will likely be a public hearing or a public consultation process, at which time administration would come back with the findings of the trial and the information from the public, and at that time, fewer or more restrictions could be put on through this bylaw to allow the continuation or not of hobby beekeeping in the community.
All right, thank you. Councillor Emford.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, Chief Chris. So if you see City of Lethbridge no bylaws, that means they can, in a sense, what you said, they can have beekeeping. And same with Cold Dust. So the two close communities have no bylaws.
Correct.
Right? Okay, perfect.
All right, thank you. Councillor Sorensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and to Mr. Egan. I just didn't see the fee for an application, and then if there was a penalty or a fine for not adhering to our rules and regulations, would that be something that administration would be able to perhaps insert that in this bylaw if they see fit?
So there are, in the previous bylaw, there were fees or fines, for people who didn't meet the requirements of the bylaw of any and all exotic animals.
Okay.
Those still exist, but we didn't put anything on beekeeping. We just said follow the Bee Act in this, just for the trial period. Presumably when the bylaw was re-amended to make it permanent, so there's then those kind of fines would be likely similar to the other fines that are already existing in the bylaw.
Yeah, because I see that there's a pretty hefty fine under the Alberta Beekeeping Act for like $2,500. So I was just wondering if we're going to adhere to that. And also if I could just ask about training, because we don't have anything about training, if that would be something that we could also include.
Definitely, we can include anything that council, through the motion, adjusts. The challenge was trying to anticipate during a trial period what would be appropriate or not. So we're open to whatever you think is the right set of requirements and restrictions for during that trial period.
All right, thank you. Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through to Councillor Sorensen, in the trial in 7.4, it does mention affiliation to a club with the purpose of training for those people, I think. So I don't know if that kind of addresses that question.
All right, that's any actual question of that per se, just. Okay, okay, fair enough, thank you. Councillor Beckering?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know there's no motion on the floor, but why are we doing what we're doing? Why don't we just get governed by the Alberta Bee Act? It's strong enough and it's punitive enough if there's a big problem. Let's just leave it alone like the other cities and communities do. Just leave it alone. But I'm just making a comment.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Thank you, Councillor Beckering. You know what, I just had a couple of questions. Number one, is there any legality information about that as far as any potential issues with somebody that has some severe allergies as a result of a bee sting?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
In the criminal code?
Well, anywhere. I don't know. Like it's just, I didn't look into that per se, but I've had a number of residents approach me, 40 plus probably, and the question was asked. I haven't asked. They've approached me. So that's a concern in itself. If they're approaching me about something like that, they're obviously concerned. So some of the comments were individuals have family or relatives that have severe allergic reactions to the point where some felt those individuals may die as a result of a bee sting. And I understand that honeybees maybe aren't as aggressive as others per se, but they do sting. correct? They can't sting, they do sting on occasion, right?
They have the ability to,
Yes.
yes.
So I guess that's my concern. If, I don't know, thousands of bees per hive also, right? And, initially when Mr. Ken Holst presented, he did a very good job. As far as he's got a great, huge passion for that. And it showed, and he did a very good job of presenting. But when you look at the whole picture, as far as people with concerns about risk, as far as any beehives in residence areas that they may be either next door or down the block or across the town for that matter. What if? I guess the what ifs, and to me, one potential severe issue is one too many. And that's the kind of message that was relayed to me, and I'm portraying that same here. Mr. Tebow.
Hearing what you're saying, Mr. Mayor, administration can certainly look into that before second and third reading if council wishes to actually pass first reading, and we can come back with that information to see what the findings are. Obviously, there's some other places close by that would have run into that situation. We just didn't go look for that up front.
No, fair enough, and that's maybe wasn't asked exactly, but this has just come out in the last couple of weeks with me. And, legitimate concerns, like I said, initially I thought, that might not be a bad idea. It sounded like a plausible option, but when you got residents that concerned about it, it's like I said, not one that I've spoken to has liked anything about it. So to Councillor Beckering's comments, I'm kind of leaning towards that exactly, and to leave it alone, basically. So thank you. Councillor Sorensen.
But, sorry, Mr. Mayor, if we leave it alone, then people still can have beehives in the community, but there's no bylaw to protect the governance of it in the community or to enact our local police department authority. Is that the purpose of a bylaw, is to help enforce certain situations in our community? I'm asking, I guess, administration.
So yes, the conditions that council places in any bylaw are typically there to restrict rather than encourage, and to provide either enforcement through the local bylaw officers. So that would be the existing bylaw, for example, the way it's framed, prohibits beekeeping, and if someone violated that and was found to have beekeeping bees in their yard inside the town limits, then they could be fined and go through that process that the bylaw stipulates. Yes, so definitely within council's prerogative.
All right, thank you. Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I see that they are not permitted in Tabor now, so we change this by law. They will be permitted in Tabor. So I think you all know I'm not in favor of bees being in town. I've had enough experiences with beehives that I would not to be one to have them next door to me. And apparently the person doesn't have to ask permission of the neighbor before he puts in a beehive. That's nothing. That's something maybe we could consider adding to this if it did pass.
For sure. Again, council can put any requirements and stipulations on the trial period and or the future use or non-use or allowance or non-allowance of beehives in town.
Because Mr. Mayor was saying how someone could be severely allergic to them and someone puts a beehive beside them. If you're asked not to, I think that would have a little bit of sway in the courts if you were getting bit by bees. But a person who's severely allergic to bees takes that risk wherever they go. So it'd be a hard one to prove that it actually came from the hive. But I'll leave it at that. I will not vote in favor of this. So.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Reffert.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Going to Councillor Beckering, you were kind of just saying if we have bees, just use the beekeeping policy, like not make all our own, just use that as the rule, not allow these.
Councillor Beckering.
That's correct,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes,
Thank
you
you.
were correct to that. So, sorry, just keep going then. I just want to make sure because I wanted to where Councillor Beckering was standing there. I see a lot of our communities are doing it. yes, some other communities have added requires a B license, which might have training. Others have consent of neighbors. I mean, I'm always a little worried about consent of neighbors because people just sometimes just say no to say no. And that's not to pick on the town of Tabor, but that's tough. That is out there. So, I'm willing to make the motion that council gives first reading to the Exotic and Wild Animals Bylaw 16-2025. But I'd like to add where administration looks into the mayor's talk about, the stings or I guess the criminal end of it. And I guess just follow up with if the Beekeeping Act has training. And maybe a notification of neighbors to make sure. I don't know. No, I'm going to just say, I'm going to leave the notification of neighbors out. Because if it's to notify them, it just causes problems. You're either going to make it consent or nothing. Because if it's notification, we might as well just going to start arguments. So I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Steve, we're gonna have that written, or read back rather.
Well, I know.
It's a little bit,
Okay.
Did you want to clean that up a bit? Yeah.
You got something. You got it? Yes. I couldn't remember what you said. So you said whatever Andy said.
So that council gives first reading to Exotic and Wild Animals Bylaw 16-2025 and adds administration look into the mayor's talk about the stings, criminal end of it, follow up with Beekeeping Act, has training.
I'm good with it. Let that stand.
All right. Everyone else okay with that? Without any amendments? Options? Okay. Motion on the table. All in favor? Opposed?
In favor.
So what do we got here? Four. There's four, yes. Okay. All right. Defeated. Thank you. All right, on to item 7, council accommodation, Tabor Police Service, Mr. Tebow.
Yes, we've got an acknowledgement that we'd like to exchange between council and Tabor Police Service. I see that Mr. Abella is here. Mr. Abella, could you come forward and provide a little background and context around what we're doing, and then we'll officially do a handoff.
All right, Chief, welcome.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Mayor? I go by many names. Thank you for the invite to come here today. I just want to acknowledge that I have Mr. McDonald, the Chair of the Tabor Municipal Police Commission, present, as well as Inspector Jepsy and Senior Constable Jason Bowles. The Mayor had approached us some time ago to acknowledge that some of the work that had been done by the Tabor Police Service, specifically around a recent project that we undertook with ALERT, the Alberta Law Enforcement's response team, called Project Leadline, which was a successful investigation that existed probably for the past 2.5 years. Can't get into great detail about that investigation other than to tell you there's been some fairly serious charges laid in relation to that investigation, including the first serious and organized crime charges that have been laid in southern Alberta that came out of this. I wanted to acknowledge the work of Inspector Jepsy, who sat on the joint management team for ALERT for the past 2 years and was instrumental in as a team commander with a group of other deputy chiefs and chief superintendents in the province, reviewing this file, as well as the work of Senior Constable Vowles. He was instrumental in gaining intelligence at the commencement of this file, which led to some fairly lengthy investigations and expense associated with ALERT, which culminated in the search warrants that happened a few weeks ago. We're thankful that council took it upon themselves to recognize us and the work that's been done. And I'll leave that unless anyone has any questions, which I can't go into great detail about.
All right. No, fair enough. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Councillor Beckering.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, thank you, Chief. I know you can't get into big detail, but if I remember correctly, there were 7 people charged with various offenses, and 4 of those from Tabor. Is that correct, sir?
5 from Tabor.
5 of the 7.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, the quantity of drugs that were seized as a result of the investigation, were in the 5 kilo range. That's cocaine, and that's a significant amount of cocaine. And several $1 million worth of assets, property and assets were seized as a result of the investigation as well. All of this is before the courts, so these are allegations, but it was a major file.
Absolutely. Thank you. Councillor Renford.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Chief Abella, yeah, I think it's awesome. That alert is neat. I learned about it when I was on the commission, and I'm glad we're seeing huge benefits of it, because it just, with a good police force and being able to use that as a resource, I mean, this is what happens. These things kind of, you don't want it here, but at least you guys are fixing the problem when it's here. So that's great. Thank you very much.
I appreciate that. I almost forgot to acknowledge Sergeant Champagne as well. Sergeant Champagne, as you know, has been seconded to alert. That was we came before council several years ago to discuss that. He's been seconded with alert, and still is. He's now being assigned to a human trafficking investigative team rather than combined forces special operations. But he was the affiant in this file and wrote over 20 judicial authorizations during this investigation. And so it just, our work with alert is within alert as well as back home here in Taber, and we think it's a great model. So thank you for acknowledging that.
All right. Thank you. Councillor Sorensen.
I guess I'll put my 2 cents in. I just want to thank the police department and everyone that's affiliated with this program, and it's just scary to me as a resident to know that this is in our town. But I just want to commend the police force for taking a little bit off the streets. I know it's a big, major problem nationwide that we have to be diligent in working together to try and take as much as this off the streets as we can. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you for that acknowledgement. It's amazing how the large files, right, can actually introduce quite a bit of neighborhood harm, like community harm. And we saw that in this file. And I want to thank the community as well for being diligent with us. It took some time for this to culminate. We were ready months ago, but there was some things that had to happen for it to finish. And we thank the community, especially in the neighborhoods of where the trafficking was occurring and the bad activity was occurring, for being patient with us.
All right, thank you so much, and thank you once again, Chief, for everything involved, all your police service members, not just members here today, but all members are involved at one time or another, I'm sure, correct, with the many assists and needs with whatever is necessary. And to Chair McDonald, also thank you for being here. And it's beyond impressive with what's involved with that big of a file, as you said. I know you can't get into great detail, but we know enough that we're very proud of all of you. And 121 years, Taber Police Service strong, right? So there's a lot of great history here, and you're all part of that history, and we appreciate you that much, so much, and we can't thank you enough. So we thought this was more than appropriate to do this for you, and on all your memberships and the entire Taber Police Service, we thank you for all you do.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
All right.
Can I have Senior Constable Valls accept this?
Absolutely, yes,
Thanks.
you bet.
More money, Jason, more money.
Oh.
I know, eh?
You want to get my minutes?
They should stand in front of you, and you should be in it with your mouth.
How about Johnny McDonald? Leave Johnny in there. Council too?
Council? Gosh.
I'm in the background.
Oh, hey, come on, just stand up back here. You stand. Should we stand behind? Does it work? To make it easier? Does this work, or do you want us up front?
Are you tall enough?
You. Okay, all right, fine. Well, that's all come up front. I'm not making you guys look nice.
Carly, if you wanted to be in the picture, you can turn your camera on.
Thanks, young man. Thank you.
That is so kind, but we are camping and I do not want to be in the picture.
All right.
I'm with you in spirit.
That right there, perfect.
No, you guys are gonna all have to get a lock. Mayor and Chief and Commissioner Chair in the Everybody else, straight down the lens, please. 3, 2, 1. Hold still. 2. 3, 2. She opted out.
I politely declined.
Yeah.
We'll just Photoshop you in, Councillor Firth. We'll choose the picture.
We'll choose.
I can't wait. Can't wait to see it.
All right, Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council commend and thank the Tabor Police Service for their efforts to ensure community safety, protect the community of Tabor and region from the impact of methamphetamine and cocaine trafficking, and to bring before the courts those who would perform profit from illegal means and do our community harm.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor?
In favor.
Carried unanimously. Thank you. On to item 7.2, DP 25102, 72nd Avenue slab on grade. Mr. Tebow.
So as council recalls, we had the public hearing for slab on grade. This is the information, sorry. This is to get it finalized. And so if there's any questions, we can have Hillary and Selena come forward, but we've done quite a few of these. If you have questions, feel free.
Thank you. Councillor Sorensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just be prepared to make the motion.
Very well.
That council approves development permit DP 25-102 for a slab on grade at 4822 72nd Avenue, Unit 75, Condo Plan 2210424 with the following 13 conditions.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor?
In favor.
Carried unanimously. Thank you. What's that?
That's the last.
Yes.
That's the last slab on grade.
All right. I just asked for a motion to move into our meal break and to reconvene at our delegation 5 o'clock time frame, please. Councillor Beck, motion on the table. All in favor?
In favor.
Thank you. And thank Perfect, thank you. All right, if we could reconvene the meeting, please. And on to item 7.3, 2026 to 2029 budget process and timeline. Mr. Tebow.
I believe we should be doing delegations, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, okay, sorry. I just thought we just did 8-1. We did both 8-1 and 8-2? Oh, sorry, what am I saying? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, sorry, that's right, correct. All right, we do have our delegation here, so it makes sense. You're right on time, thank you. On to item 8.2, ahead of 7.3, delegation Tabor Archers and Mohhunters. Mr. Tebow.
So I've checked the back gallery, and we have Nick and Brooke here, and I think Brooke already delegated Nick to be speaking. So if you could come forward to the podium if you like, or sit down and turn on the microphone and address council.
Nick, just if you want to stand or sit, you want to just got to press that button for this, so the mic will show up red. As you're live. There, you're live
there
now. Perfect. Thank you.
So,
welcome.
Hello. Yeah, so I'm Nick Sakira. I'm with the Tabor Archers and Mohhunters. Got a proposal here to read out for you. I'd like to begin by expressing our sincere gratitude for your support allocating the $35,000 for the flooring project within the facility here. Your commitment to enhancing the safety and functionality of our spaces is greatly appreciated. The flooring refurbishing project is a significant step toward ensuring safe walking surfaces for all who enter our facility. I'd like to propose an additional enhancement that I believe will greatly benefit our community, and that'd be the installation of acoustic tiling down in our range. As you know, noise can be a considerable disturbance, especially in a multi-use facility like ours. The loud racket from our bows can be overwhelming, impacting not only those within our facility, but also our neighbors. By adding the acoustic tiling, we can significantly reduce the noise population, creating a more inviting and comfortable environment for everybody involved. Therefore, I'm requesting funds that have already been allocated for the flooring project to extend to include the acoustic tiling. We believe the additional investment will further enhance our facility utility and the overall experience of the community members, especially those participating in the Tabor Archers. In essence, we're not asking for additional funds outside of the $35,000 that's already been allocated. Rather, we would like to utilize the already existing funds to include the acoustic tiling. This change, in conjunction with the new flooring, will not only improve the functionality, but foster a sense of community as well. I'm here to answer any questions regarding the proposal and look forward to your feedback.
All right, thank you. Councilor Rumford.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To you, Mr. Sakura. So, do you think the 13,000 does the project? Like, is that going to be enough? So if we do if the project's 30 grand and we do 13, are you looking for the rest of that, or do you think it's enough?
Just to cover the cost of the installation for the installation of the acoustic tiling. I'm not sure what it'll cost, as long as it's within the budget.
So you're kind of saying, like, if it's 15 grand,
yeah,
the association will throw 2 in?
No. Is there I'm
There's
sorry.
13 left.
There's 13 left?
Yeah,
yes,
like that's kinda what I'm
it
saying.
should cover outside of that. If we need to put money up, that's something I can take back to the club and we
Okay,
can
yeah, I
discuss
just don't want,
Yes.
to make sure the project's in the scope of what that is.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we're not asking for additional funds. We're thinking it should fit within the 35,000 already there. So if there's 13 left, sorry, I wasn't aware of that number.
Yeah.
If that covers it, great. If there's an additional cost, I'll have to go back and we'll have to have a meeting with the Archers to see if we can cover the rest. Okay. Yes.
All right, thank you. Councilor Sorensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for your presentation, Mr. Sakura. I was just wondering, how often do you guys use the facility? If you could just give me a...
We have club members there almost every night of the week. Our active club nights are Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's when it's open to the public as well. We come down and have our club shoots. But any member that pays their dues, they also get a key fob and they can use it any time of the week. Yes.
And can I ask just
Sure,
one
you
more?
bet, yep.
Just your membership, how many members do you have?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, 82.
Okay, so
thereabouts.
quite a substantial
Mhm.
amount.
And that's people, most of them are within Tabor, but as well as outside the area as well. So.
And all ages.
All
I
ages. We
assume.
do run a youth program out of there. That's we started, I believe, this will be our second or third year doing that, and it's been full every time, and people quite enjoy it. So that's why we're looking to improve the building a little bit.
Right, thank you. Councillor Beckering.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, thank you for the presentation, Nick and Brooke. Council Sorensen was asked and answered. I was going to ask this very same question. Members, and how many people of this membership approximately live in the town of Tabor, and how many live outside? Can you give me any idea on that?
You know, I don't have a breakdown for that.
Okay.
I would say the majority of them are within Tabor. We do. I know we have members that come from, 7 persons, all the way down to Foremost. We have members that come up and use the facility every now and again. So, yeah.
Councillor Rowan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think it's a great program you guys are on there, and the archery has been around for years and years. I think if we were to do this correctly, we'd probably want to reevaluate, like it says in our notes here, that money's been allocated, spent, so it goes back into our capital reserves.
Sure.
So I think the best way to do this would be get an appraisal or an estimate on what's going to cost to put in the acoustic tiles, and I'd be all for it. Like, it'd be nice going into it. Is it going to be 10,000, 15, or 20? And if we do it, that we do a good job and not skimp because we only have the 13.
Oh, for sure.
So
Yeah.
I would suggest that we'd probably want to get it, what's the word I'm looking for? Have a new proposal put together to see what we need to put in there, square footage and all that.
Okay.
But I think it's a great thing to do.
Now,
Councillor, or sorry, go ahead.
sorry. Would you like us to get the quotes as the club, or would you guys be looking to do that, or?
Yeah, that would be an administrative role, actually, but I believe, Mr. Tebow, that's would be also the role to further,
Yeah, if that were council's direction, then come back to us, and then we would reach out and initiate that and be in touch. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
all right. Councillor Sorensen?
Yeah, actually, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was just going to make that comment. It's a town building, so we would be probably installing
happy to let
and
you do it,
doing
for
that
sure.
ourselves. But yeah, I appreciate the presentation, and I think we're all supporting it. It's just that which way, in what manner, and how much. Show me the money of where it's going to come from.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Councillor Bruin?
I have one more question, Mr. Mayor. Your ceiling in the building, I haven't been down there for years, but is it arrow-proof?
It's cement.
It is cement,
It
okay.
is
That's
relatively
just so-
arrow-proof,
Yeah,
yes.
that's-
It does more damage to the arrows than we
Okay,
ever do to
that's
it.
just checking. I've been to some turkey shoots where they're not bulletproof.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's.
Councillor Rumpert?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'll make one of them terrible things, recommendations that'll all be goofy. So I'll make a motion that council directs administration to get an estimate for acoustic ceiling tile in the bow.
Archery range.
In the at the Tabor Archery Range.
Correct, yes.
Okay, that's good enough covered there, Mr. Tebow?
Essentially, are you trying to? Is it the recommendation that we have put forward? Is that what you're trying to get at, or?
Yeah, it's a little different,
Well,
Councillor
yeah,
Rumpert,
your
you know.
recommendation is to repurpose and reallocate it, right? But is it better for us to get an estimate, because it comes in at 7, or if it comes, you know what I'm saying, like where Jack was saying, if it comes in at 20, maybe, we have to make that decision. You know, kind of get what I'm saying?
By just reallocating the funds there.
But it's with a proposal.
Come forward with an cost.
Yeah, I think administration's intention with that recommendation was to take it away, further examine it, and come back to council with all the information.
Okay.
And at that point in time, council could decide if they wanted to do something with it. But we don't have the information really exactly what council's saying.
I'm gonna, do I have to rescind it or?
Withdraw.
We're
Withdraw.
just gonna withdraw my motion and I got a new one. All right, told you it was gonna be a little wonky.
Turn your mic on.
Sorry, we put the medals in. That council directs administration to further examine the Tabor Archers and Bow Hunters budget reallocation request and return with a proposal at the future council meeting. That's a way better one. Way-
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I know, but
Yes. All right, we do have a motion on the table. All in favor?
In favor.
Carried unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, on to 7.3, the 2026
See you later.
to 2029 budget process timeline, Mr. Tebow.
We have an eager Rob Osmond who'd like to come up and wander through the budget process for what administration is contemplating this time around.
Thank you very much, Council. So I put together an item here regarding the 2026 to 29 budget process. Administration is looking at some changes in the process from how we've done it in the past. And because of the council's interest in pursuing a expedited timeline that would see us complete the budget before the election, I just wanted to get down on paper in front of council some of the hurdles we'll have to schedule to move through in our efforts to do that. So the first piece that I'd like to talk about is a piece of public and council input into the budget process. This is a tool I've used in other municipalities. It comes out to be a simple form that we'd share with council and the public to share their thoughts on things to be considered in the budget. So we've got the form drafted up in the package. Megan was able to provide me with a communications plan. If council does agree tonight to move forward with this piece of engagement, there's approximately $2,300 of communication work we'd like to do to get that out to the public. One of the reasons we want to move ahead with that communications plan is our time is short because we're going to be looking for these to be turned around to us by August 5th. And so to make sure that we get the biggest impact with this, we'd want to do the communication piece to try to get as many responses in. Also following that, so the process would be we'd have this period of time where the public and council can put their ideas for project consideration. And then we would schedule a meeting, I suspect a special meeting of council would be required. No, sorry, not for this one. This one we'll try to tackle in the August council meeting. And essentially at that point, what we look for is council to review each of the proposals. And if they feel that it's appropriate to refer them to the budget, they direct administration to take them in for further development. That just ensures that there's a council interest before administration starts putting work into the proposed ideas. So that's the public input piece. Administration also, the town of Tabor has a practice on a 3-year rotating schedule to have a series of community organizations come in with their 3-year budget proposals and requests for council. So this 2026 budget process is the alignment of that 3-year rotation. And so we'll be looking to get those out right away. Because although we have a little bit more time than the public input ones, we would be looking to deal with them at the beginning of September. So looking for a special meeting to deal with those. And so we'll get those out to the groups right away. It'll be a little challenging for some of the groups, especially if they don't have a lot of contact time over the summer. But in order to make sure that we have enough time to incorporate everything into the budget. That's about as late as we can push it. I will mention that as I went through and identified the needs for these special meetings, I picked days and times that I thought might work, but certainly if council has better dates and times, that's perfectly fine. We'll deal with those. And then the last piece that I was looking for council to make a decision on this evening was to schedule deliberation meetings. So the goal would be to schedule 2 meetings in the last week of September, first week of October, and depending on how long the deliberations take, you may not need 2 full meetings, but it is, in my experience, always better to have the meetings prepped and ready to go and not need them than to be wishing we'd scheduled yet another one and not have it. So, so those are the outcome pieces. I did include in this request for decision a bit of an outline about some of the changes we're making in the budget. So what I've outlined there is a system of budget preparation that I've used in a number of other municipalities. The main focus of the changes is to put key budget decisions back in the hands of council. A lot of budget development processes have become very reliant on administration producing a budget and then either looking for council to adopt it as their own or in kind of a worse scenario, trying to sell administration's vision of the budget to council. So the process that I have here really has us develop a series of potential ideas. So they would be things that council's referred to budget over the course of the year, things that are coming up because of legislation changes or programming opportunities or budget savings. And then we put those decisions in front of you in what I call a light switch exercise. So you go through saying, yeah, we'd like to do that one, or no, that's not a project for this year. And then we take a running tally of that. And at the end of the process, we take a look at what that means for council and the budget. And if it's not what council is comfortable with, then we go back to the beginning and take another run through. But the idea is that all the budget decisions are made by council. And it gives a better insight into your budget when you prepare it. And better ownership of the budget, which overall just makes for a better, solid budget. When council feels comfortable that they can speak with authority about what's in the budget, it puts everybody in a better spot. So that's what I've got for you.
All right. Thank you so much, Rob. Appreciate that. Any questions arising? None whatsoever. Councillor Sorensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And it's an interesting concept. I really love the public engagement component of it, but it seems like we're rushing it. And really with the turnover of a new council and them doing strategic planning, it would almost make sense for that public engagement to be shared there at that strategic planning and how they're gonna move forward the next 4 years with the requests of the citizens instead of us deciding last minute. But I'm not sure what your thoughts are on this whole thing.
So it is, I would say that it is probably more common for budgets to be left to the incoming council. I have been in places where we've attempted to get ahead of that a little bit to try to streamline it, because all of you know that when you come in as a new councillor, it's a bit of a drink from the fire hose as they try to move you through, and that's just become, over the last 2 election cycles, that's become more and more information. So I understand why we want to look at this, but it can create a challenge that if the new composition of council has different ideas about how the budget, you can end up in a budget amendment. We call it a budget amendment, but it's really a lot of reworking of the budget. Certainly, there are things like getting the community group funding request organized and the public consultation piece that would likely benefit from more time than we have. But with the election dates, we'd essentially be looking at having the budget approved, I think it's the 13th of October. And so there's not a lot of meeting time left for us to get these things in. So if council wanted to look at that, I could tweak this if we were going to change the timing of the budget. But this was prepared with the understanding that council's thought was that we were looking for budget approval before the election.
Yeah, no, I understand it, Rob. Thank you. I actually agree quite a lot with what Councillor Stearns is saying. It makes good sense, and as you just suggested, it makes more sense as well to do that with the new council. But I think getting as far as we can, for the most part, for that new council is also helpful and necessary. But Councillor Stearns, that has a lot of merit. What you just suggested, that makes perfect sense to me too. So I don't know. You know what? I refer to Councillor Beckering a lot. And I respect Councillor Beckering's experience and expertise in that regard, particularly the finance side. So, Councillor Beckering, if you're all right with that, would you have some input on that? Councillor Beckering.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I have never heard of a council before an election passing a budget for the new council. I think it's probably not very beneficial. At the same time, I know, like you said, Rob, it's like drinking from a fire hose, and there's so much information to be gathered. I think we can start the process, Mr. Mayor. We can start the process of meetings. And after all, no matter which council decides when, old council, new council, or what, it's still only an interim budget. Anyway, it's an interim budget, right? It's not a finalized budget. It doesn't come till next year. So the new council can change at will whatever old council has decided. In my opinion, Mr. Mayor. Right. So I think we can start the process, and I appreciate the fact that you encourage public input. I think it'll be minimal in my view, but nevertheless, it's an opportunity. And I think we should proceed as you recommended, because I'm satisfied that we won't complete this thing anyway. So, and I think the public input process regarding August the 8th, I think was your cutoff, should probably be lengthened somewhat. It's a little, in my view, it's a little bit too short a timeline, I think, but I think we should proceed, Mr. Mayor. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Councillor Beckering, for your very beneficial input. I appreciate that very much. Councillor Sorensen.
Yeah, asked and answered, so yeah, thank you for your input.
All right. Any other questions, comments? All right. Rob, anything else to add to your end?
Well, just along those lines, perhaps I could suggest under alternative 1 in the agenda item, there's a couple of components to it, and if we moved ahead with council accepting the 2026-2029 operating capital budget framework as presented, and further that the project and services proposal forms be circulated to the public and council with the budget for communications funded at that, I want to say $2,300, that would get us on the go. And then once we reach out to the community organizations and have an understanding of what their return might be able to be for us, we can deal with that piece after. But if I have those two pieces, that would at least get us underway with the public consultation.
Right. All right. Thank you. Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do like this presentation, the way it's presented. I agree that it's not necessarily that we're going to get a lot of input, but I think it's great that we present that option to the public. I also am curious as to how that will feel if I did get elected again or something, on to the next council, to be more in charge of the budget in a sense, rather than, it reverse roles in a sense. It is a very interesting way to present the budget, which I think is very intriguing and very, very good, actually. I was just prepared to make a motion, Mr. Mayor, but I appreciate that you made that comment before I made the motion. But I will move that council accepts the 2026 to 2029 operating and capital budget framework as presented, and further that the project and services proposal forms be circulated for public and council input into the budget process with a budget for project communications of $2,300 funded from operations.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor?
In favor.
Carried unanimously. Thank you. All right, moving on to item 7.4, Councilor Remuneration Committee update. Mr. Tebow.
Council has seen most of this information before, but I will hand things over to Rob and he can explain a few more things and then council can have their discussion.
All right, thank you. Rob?
Thank you. So following a discussion on council remuneration on June 9th, council directed administration to advertise the 20 spots for the 2025 Council Remuneration Committee, where we were seeking up to 5 members of the public. Administration conducted the advertisement, but has received no applications for the Council Remuneration Committee. Administration did advertise at the Cornhusk in the Cornhusk Chronicles 2 weeks in the Taber Times and on the town socials, but none of them materialized. Ultimately, I've included all of the information that I had in the previous presentation on council remuneration, including our surveys with Alberta municipalities and our regional surveys. I was able to track down one piece of additional information. Council had asked when we'd spoken about this before about the actual date of the decision to decrease council remuneration 5%. That occurred in November 2019. And it was made effective January 2020. So that was that information, and if there's anything else that council would like, I'd be happy to answer any questions if it helps the discussion.
All right, thank you. Any questions arising?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilor Firth.
Thank you. No questions. I just wanted to thank administration for the work that they did trying to form that committee. I know it was a sticking point for me especially, and I know I saw the advertisements for the committee at least twice. And so I'm disappointed that no members of the public chose to participate, but I am grateful that we went through the exercise and the public at least had that opportunity. So thank you for that.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Councilor Firth. I also am fairly disappointed. I thought for sure we'd have at least a 3. I was expecting, but as you know, I guess we did try that. When was the last one we tried that, Mr. Tebow?
I forget the dates, but it was prior to my arrival, and we advertised twice, and I think it was 2017.
Same result.
Same
right?
result.
So,
Yeah.
I guess that's all we can do is put it out there to the general public as we offered, and I guess we got our answer for that. So thank you so much for looking into that, and those very much needed attempts. All right, any other questions or comments? Councilor McLean.
No comments. I will just make the motion, Mr. Mayor, that council set council remuneration at $58,983 annually for the mayor, $37,876 annually for the deputy mayor, and $31,876 annually for each councillor. Further, that the council per diem rates be set at $282, and further that these rates will become effective November 1st, 2025, and the expense will be funded from operations.
All right, thank you, Councilor McLean. Councilor Sorensen?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was just going to say it's time for an increase. You know, it's been so many years. It's just unfortunately the sign of inflation and so forth. So I was prepared to make the motion, same motion.
All right, thank you. You know, that's I mean, that was the original recommendation, but I believe that's on the high side, way high, actually. in comparison. I realize it's been 6 years since there's been any increase. But that's, I don't know, do we have the percentages for that, Rob? What that equates to?
I do have the increases. So it was 6 years ago that we made the adjustment for the 5% decrease.
Right.
So the percent increase to increase the mayor's remuneration from 45,286 to 58,983, which is the mean value of the Alberta Municipalities Report for large towns, is 30.2%, or an annual average increase of 5% over the course. The deputy, it is a 40.7% increase, or a 6.8 annual average. And then the councillor rate is 25.8%, or 4.3% annual increase.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's sky high. I know it's 6 years. I know it's a long time, but that's just even where it fits into the mix. I guess that makes sense as far as done our due diligence to find those figures, and they're very accurate. But that's a lot, percentage wise. And Councillor Becker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah. The numbers don't lie. There's no doubt about that, right? The numbers are there, and I appreciate the work that's been done on that. But I agree with the mayor that, boy, oh boy, talk about shooting yourself in the foot, I think, in a sense. And it's never popular for council members or mayor or deputy mayor to ask to reward increases to a following council. It's never been popular, never will be, and it's always too much, right? I suggest, I'm speaking against the motion now. I'm not speaking against an increase, speaking against the motion. I think it's far, far too high, Mr. Mayor. If I can speaking against the motion, make a suggestion to the mover. I don't think I want to go to by way of friendly amendment because it's not that friendly.
Okay.
Because it's a far cry from the motion. I would suggest the rollback we took in 2019 for 2020 was 5%. Restore that. That is a different issue. To me, it's a bit of a different issue. We did that, as a council, we did that. If those council members who were there remember that, it's because we were negotiating with QP and all the stuff. There was a sign of, some kind of a sign of we're in all this together sort of thing. You know what I mean? But anyway, restore the 5% and increase the balance to both the mayor, deputy mayor, and councillor by 8% for a grand total of 13%, which is about not even half of what the Councillor McLean's motion indicates. Well, it's 1/3 for councillors, but councillors 40%. That's crazy, but that's my suggestion. But it's not a friendly amendment because I don't think it's possible within the realm of friendly amendments. I think I'm speaking against the motion. I'll vote against it. Thank you.
All right. Yes, I also got to agree. Like I said, I appreciate Councillor McLean and the work that's gone into this by administration and everything else attached to that. But that's just who gets that kind of increase? I know it's been that length of time, but even what Councillor Becker is suggesting, I believe 6 years, just on the top of my head, that would be an average of about 2% a year, correct? Is that right? So if you look at it that way, that equates to 2%, which over 6 years, I know would be under the average rate of inflation over that 6-year time frame. Is that right? That sound accurate, Rob?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so that to me is much more reasonable and palatable. As much as I know we're low, I'm not sure where we are. We're not on the bottom, but close. Correct, Mr. Tebow?
Yeah, I think as per the final graph that we had there, Tabor is second from the bottom in the lower 50th percentile.
So that's why in that case, again, I have to speak against the motion by Councillor McLean with that base knowledge involved and leaning towards Councillor Beckering's recommendation. Any other questions or comments? Oh, Rob, sorry. You get,
Sorry, just a clarification. In that last one, the regional comparison of the financials, where Tabor is highlighted for the mayor as second from the bottom and for councillors on the bottom, that is coming in below 25th percentile.
below 25th.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I think on the mayor's, I had 25th percentile at 47,000, and we're currently at 45. On the councillors, it's 27, and we are 25. So
Okay, and
I
where would
would
this-
estimate that
Okay.
probably rings in around 20th percentile.
Okay, and this, the current recommendation that's up there on the screen that Councilor McLean has just made,
That one is 50th percentile.
50, so middle of the road there, okay.
Yeah. Sorry,
yeah.
not in that graph. It's 50th percentile in the Alberta municipalities.
Oh, I
range.
see, okay.
In
I
this
guess, yeah.
one, it would be probably 55 to 60th percent.
There's a lot of numbers, a lot of information there, it gets confusing in a lot of ways. Okay, any other comments? All right, seeing none, we do have a motion on the table. Councilor McLean?
Sorry, we have a recommended amendment to the motion.
Well, no, he's just calling information,
Oh,
that's,
no.
he felt it was too much
Oh.
as an actual amendment recommendation.
You don't want to amend, okay.
Councilor Beckern?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, I suggest not a friendly amendment, but if Councilor McLean is willing to even consider it, then I might take that risk, although it's so far apart that I hate to do it. Do you agree with that, Mr. Thibault? I mean, I'm pretty well versed in this stuff, but I'm not 100% sure whether I'm correct or not.
That would be up to Councilor McLean if she wanted to withdraw, but it's not.
Yeah, it is totally up to Councilor McLean.
Yes.
It's, I mean, if it was voted against, there could be another motion made in the alternatives that might be more palatable with either numbers or percentages, but totally up to council if they choose to.
No, we're not trying to pressure you to withdraw necessarily, it's just the information that's come out. That's totally up to yourself. There is a motion on the table. We honor and respect that. Councilor McLean?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will withdraw my motion.
All right. Motion is withdrawn. Any other comments? Councilor Beckern?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion, but I'd like to see the numbers first, because I'm recommending 13%. So, Rob, if you can give me the council, deputy mayor, and the numbers, and then under the alternatives, I'll make that motion then, if I may, Mr. Mayor.
Very well. Councilor Rowan?
Just for easier figuring, aren't we basically just cutting the recommended motion in half? Basically, whether we're at 30 and 40%, we're just dropping that recommended motion in half.
I think we're just trying to clarify that, Councilor Rowan, but that's, yeah.
Just want to get the numbers here, Jack.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, you bet.
All right. So with a 13% increase, the mayor's new remuneration value would be $51,173.74. Deputy mayor, $30,412.85, and councillors, $28,622.99.
All right, thank you. Councillor Beckering?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Prepared to make a motion then?
Very well.
Okay, there we go on here. I move, Mr. Mayor, that council set council salaries at $51,173 and some cents annually for the mayor, and $30,412 and some cents for the deputy mayor, and $28,622 and some cents for councillor, and further, that council per diem rate be set at $282, and further, that these rates will become effective November the 1st, 2025, and the expense will be funded from operations.
All right, thank you. We do have a motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor?
In favor.
Carried unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, Rob, for that additional information as well. All right, on to item 7.5, corporate services positions to replace contract positions. Mr. Tebow.
Again, I'll hand this over to Rob Osmond, and he'll run council through what administration is thinking.
All right, thank you, Rob.
Thank you. What I'm looking for here is council support. So we had two contract positions, one working with our capital projects, TCA accounting, and then another one who was working as a human resources consultant, a payroll consultant. Council might remember that I had been in and talked a little bit about some of the changes that I would like to make. The payroll consultant is no longer working with us, and our TCA capital accounting consultant has given us notification that he is ready to retire, and so this will be his last accounting season with us. So in light of that, it was time to take a look at the resource needs in the department. And what I would like to propose is recruiting a 1 FTE payroll and human resources assistant. This role would be providing support to both the payroll and HR functions. So where our consultant tended to be kind of an above position that was supporting from above, what I'm looking for here is an administrative support position to allow our payroll and HR resources to be able to focus on those key pieces and get some of the administrative component out of them. Probably the most important part of this role, though, is as a backup payroll processor. So at the moment, we don't have an internal resource that can run payroll if our payroll coordinator is away on a vacation, is sick, or left the organization, which puts us in a bit of a bind. People really like getting paid, all of us included. And so we like to have that role. We do have the option if something was to happen tomorrow, there are resources that I can tap to get it done. But really what I'd like to have is somebody internal to the organization that understands our system and has the training and access to be able to take on those responsibilities as a backup for us internally. On the accounting side, what I'm looking for is a 1 FTE accounting technician. So this person would, in addition to providing the TCA capital accounting piece that we currently use the contractor for, would also be able to help us with some of our more technical and analytic-based accounting functions. So in the department right now, there's actually, if we look at the data entry administrative piece, and between there and the manager, there's actually no accounting support between those two things. And so what we see in the department is a lot of those more technical pieces, the analytical accounting pieces, end up getting pushed directly up to the manager. And it creates a bit of a pinch point, not just in workflow, but also in segregation of duties. And so you'll remember from our conversation about the auditor's findings that one of the things that is common in almost every audit, but segregation of duties within the department is very important as a mechanism to defend the organization from some of the bad finance things that can go on. And having an additional person in the organization that can take on some of those more technical responsibilities would be a big capacity add to the department. So those two positions, if we estimate what they will cost, subtract what we currently have allocated for the budget of those two contractors, there's a difference in the addition of those two FTE positions of approximately $40,000. But for that $40,000, for example, on the accounting technician side, right now our contractor only does the capital accounting. The accounting technician would do the capital accounting as well as a number of other services that we don't currently have someone in the organization with the technical expertise to do. So we get a lot of added benefit for those additional staff funding.
All right, thank you. Councilor Becker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, Rob, thank you for your presentation regarding that. The difference is about $40,000, I see. So on your estimated cost of two full-time positions, does that include benefits?
Yes, it does. I believe we use approximately 25% for benefits, and the other costs, we refer to them as modifiers, but costs of employee. We add that to the base wages to include, and it is included in these costs.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, follow up?
Absolutely.
So that's your estimated cost, of course, because we don't know for sure. But let's say it comes in at 160,000, not 147. Would you have to come back to council with that then, Mr. Mayor? Or?
So the estimated cost of these positions are based on existing salary grids. So there are, on the grids, there are steps. And so potentially you could have somebody that you would look at that might need to start at a higher step. But we are confident that the bands that we use, the existing bands, so one of them was for a position we used to have, and one of them had been scoped out for a position that had been previously proposed to council, but not filled. So we're confident that these bands will be the fit, and that any difference from here would be the difference of moving up a step or two if you had somebody with higher qualifications, more experience.
All right, sure. Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Sorensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and maybe you don't know because you're new to the organization, but were these positions historically within the town of Heber, and we moved to contracted services, and now maybe you prefer to move it back in?
So the payroll HR position has not been attempted here before, but I believe that there was at least some conversation about having an accounting technician type employee. Now, whether that was from the past or whether it was a proposal, that I don't know for sure. But we did have a grid or a band in the grid that mentioned that this is where this position would go, and the outline of a job description.
All right, thank you. Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I can totally see the benefit of having these in-house, especially with payroll and accounting itself. It's really nice to have them in-house rather than contracting out. It's a kind of a pain, actually, when you're dealing with the day-to-day. And same with HR. It's, yeah, in my opinion, it makes sense. So I am prepared to make a motion, Mr. Mayor, that
All right.
council approves the addition of 2 permanent out-of-scope positions for the Corporate Services Division, 1 FTE Payroll and Human Resources Assistant, and 1 FTE Accounting Technician.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor?
In favor.
Carried unanimously. Thank you, Rob. All right, on to item 7.6, tax penalty waiver request. Mr. Tebow.
Council has seen these type requests in the past. Rob is here to field any questions, but I think everything is there in front of council, so I'll hand it back over to council.
All right, thank you. Unless you got anything to add, Rob, it's fairly straightforward, I think, as is written, correct? Any questions arise, any comments? Councillor Sorensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd be prepared to make the motion that council decline the request to waive the tax penalty in the amount of $689.49 for roll 4952100.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor?
In favor.
Carried unanimously. Thank you. Thank you. On to item 7.7, fee waiver requests. Mr. Tebow.
So this fee waiver request is not as common, and so I think I'll call upon Mr. Munshaw to come up and explain this one to council, and then back over to council to deliberate.
Chief Munshaw, welcome.
Mayor and council, I haven't been up here for a while. Stretch my legs. It's okay. Okay, so what we have in front of you today is something very rare. It's something I haven't even presented. Is a dispute on fee for fire services. And so we do bill for fire services that are insurable, so motor vehicle collision, structure fires. Over the years, we've had good communication with individuals identifying what the scopes are outside of these processes, but allowing them also to know how the path goes. In this case, we've had a person that would like to ask for a fee waiver on this situation. I have had the opportunity to look and review the actual call. There was 2 vehicle MVC in the situation, and we had 2 vehicle responses, and normally we also had the ambulance as well as police, and it was a heavy intersection. It was a south to Highway 3 and 36 north at that intersection, so just by Walmart. And so I leave it in front of you today to see if you wish to have this fee as changed.
All right, thank you, Councillor Beckering.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, Chief, historically, I understand that ambulance charges are not collectible by way through courts.
Couldn't answer
They're almost
on.
always written off. I know
Could
that-
be.
I know
Could
that
be,
for-
but I cannot answer that as
okay.
ambulance.
Yeah.
No.
I understand they're not collectible. I wonder, so you don't know whether it applies in the case of a fire charge.
What I can say under fire aspects is what my experience is in Alberta when it goes to courts. Many times in court of cases, they are reduced to whoever the situation applies to with secondary penalties applied, not necessarily a full charge in court.
All right, thank you. Councillor Bruin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'm assuming this was a non-insurable accident, or?
It could have gone through insurance. They chose not to use insurance and to pay the situation out in cash.
So they had the option.
They have the option. They did have the option.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just to clarify, Chief, so this is rare, like, have you ever seen it? Let's say that.
In my time here, I've never presented one to the town of Tabor in 11 years. No,
So there's been other circumstances similar, but never
yeah,
any.
we bill out. Last week we had 2 bills go out.
Right,
And normally we'll see 30 bills
So
a
I'm
year.
trying to give this individual the benefit of the doubt, but I'm just not seeing what stands out here. Is there anything that we're missing by chance?
The only thing that was written to us was the age of the billing person going to, and they identified it was a junior, could not afford the bill, and the parents did come in and pay the initial $500. And this request is coming from the parents.
Right. Okay, all right, thank you. Any other questions, comments? Councillor Beckert?
Mr. Mayor, thank you. Prepare to make a motion that council does not approve any reduction of fees to account number 0024417.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor?
In favor.
Carried unanimously. Thank you. On to item 7.8, Town of Tabor Permanent Irrigation Acres. Mr. Steeble.
Council recollects a little while back, administration was asked to go away and look at the idea of leasing some of our available irrigation acres. And so I'll have Ms. Hillary Jansen come forward and let you know what we've found out.
All right, yes. Ms. Jansen, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. So in looking at this particular situation, so the current situation is I had attached a map to your agenda report there so you could kind of see the irrigation acres that we currently have. The town owns land that have irrigation acres on them, but they're not actively being used. As you're aware, we are selling those irrigations on the 172 acres on the northeast in the Eureka area. And the remainder of those titles are areas that you see in there, we're not utilizing them at all. So with that, as the town doesn't have any requirements for irrigation acres on any other town lands, the town could lease these irrigation acres to another irrigator in the Tabor region. So the SMRID has irrigation acres split into their various areas. So it'd have to be in the Tabor area. The SMRID, as noted in your agenda package, has provided the options that may be available to lease those irrigation acres, so now the town has the opportunity to list those irrigation acres on the SMRD website and engage with interested landowners. Included in the package, I did include what the SMRD charges us for those irrigation acres. You can see it's $33 per acre, so that's kind of a base starting point in terms of if you're looking at a value. But it is based on the open market. It'd be very hard to determine what a private landowner might be willing to pay, but that's something we could engage with if somebody was interested in taking on those irrigation or leasing those acres from the town.
All right, thank you. Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think this is something we should very seriously consider doing this. We may be a little late to the dance this year. Already people have stopped watering some grain crops to save their inches for other acres. But there may still be a need for it this year. I'm not sure. But I'd be all for what acres we're not using next year to definitely offer them to the public to lease from us. I'm assuming will include all of St. Mary's River Irrigation District, not just Tabor area, as long as the person proves that he has the ability for it to be delivered to that parcel. This is on top of existing acres. It's not new acres. So it's not just Tabor. Okay. Small part. Someone's Bow Island could add acres to this. And this isn't uncommon. This has happened a lot, especially with the cutbacks on the inches per acre allowed. So I would definitely be in favor of pursuing this for next year. We could put some feelers out to see if someone still wants something this year. St. Mary's would be able to tell us that. The price-wise, going rate, I don't know what it is now. It was $200 an acre for leasing them, but who knows what they are today. A question I have though, on our 172 acres that we're selling, we are watering half of that presently, right? There's a pivot running out there now. Will we want to perhaps hold back some of these acres so they can continue to water that next year instead of making it dry land totally there?
They're set to go to auction on August the 14th as per previous direction, so I don't know that we need any of those because we have all the other acres that we could transfer if we needed to, so I think we're okay.
What I was trying to get to in a long way is that we could transfer some of these acres instead of leasing all these acres to half of that parcel so the person can still continue to irrigate next year.
If needed, yes.
All right, Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also had a question. The irrigation acres out by the trout pond, do we not use those either? Do we not irrigate out there, though?
From
I
what
thought
I
we had,
understand, we
like-
don't have any, we don't use any of the irrigation acres.
We
But how do
don't.
we irrigate our trees?
We don't do any irrigation on that quarter section, is my understanding. There is some water that the cows get to drink that comes from some hose somewhere that I saw on the ground, but we don't irrigate out there.
All right, thank you. Councillor Beckering?
Yeah, regarding Council Bruin's suggestion, perhaps moving some of our acres on the west side here to the land we're trying to sell water rights from next year is probably not feasible, because the minute you take irrigated lands out of irrigation, because we sold the water rights, becomes a piece of dry land. So therefore, in order to put water on that dry land, you have to apply to increase your irrigated acres, so it's not possible, Council Bruin. No, it's
All right.
dry land. You cannot put water on dry land without having water rights. You can't do
Right,
it.
that's correct. Yeah. Right, thank you. Councillor Everett?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Since we started with all this irrigation acre stuff, it's been great. I think I'm ready to make a motion that council directs administration to lease the unused irrigation acres.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Sorry, Councillor Sorensen had one.
In favor.
Councillor Sorensen did have a question.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I think Councillor McLean has a valid question, and I think we need to really investigate and make sure have enough water available for the trout pond and anything that we're ready to expand on. You know, like if we are needing irrigation of some shape, way, or form, that we're not stealing or renting that out and I guess we're renting it, so we can always not rent it out. Okay, sorry. I just wanted to clarify that before we.
I was
Okay.
under the impression that if there's 205 and we need 15, administration would do 190.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I looked at it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I just had to think out
Giving them
loud.
Just giving them the
Okay.
discretion to do what they felt
Okay.
was possible.
All right, thank you. Councillor Brown? You're good? Okay. Once again, we do have a motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? We didn't as well, actually, she got, well, we did technically, but she had a green light request just before the hands got up.
Are we putting a timeline on this? Are we going to still try for this year, or when are we going to make this available? I guess we should.
Okay, just 1 second, Councillor Brown, if I may. I didn't hear Councillor Firth, I don't think, unless, you did, Councillor Firth?
I did chime in. I was in favor of that last motion.
Okay, great, thank you. Just didn't hear that little discussion going on here. Thank you. So that is carried unanimously. And so other comments, Councillor Burns, if you like?
Is there a timeline on this? Are we going to see if someone wants them for the remainder of this year yet, or are we just going to put it off till 26?
Thank you, Councillor Bruin, through the mayor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to meet with the county solicitor tomorrow to discuss the actual lease document that we would have to draft. But I certainly don't see why we couldn't try to get that out sooner rather than later. There is people, as you're well aware, who do irrigate in the fall. So that's something that we can definitely explore or try to get to for this year. And then if we don't have any bites on that, we will have them out for next year.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, moving on to item 7.9, Horsefly Regional Spillway Project. Mr. Tebow.
Catch up here on the screen. So we do have Mr. Rob Osmond that will come forward and speak to this one. This is a project that council's been aware of over the course of time, and this is a request coming from the MD that that goes, I think, beyond what council had originally. I wasn't here for all the original $7 whatever million it was that was agreed to back in the day. So administration just can't go and pay this bill to the MD without council's approval. So over to you, Rob.
There we go. Thank you very much. So what what the South Regional Stormwater Drainage Committee has reached out to us for is the remaining partnership contribution for phase 2 and 3 of the Horsefly Spillway project. So if you'll notice in the documentation, the amount originally requested from the town of Tabor is $204,954. However, working with the MD, we discovered that the town made an overpayment in 2020 to this project of approximately $20,000, and so we've received that as a credit against the payment. So the amount that we're actually being asked to put forward is $184,263. So this is the partnership contribution, the remaining portion for this project.
All right, thank you. Any questions whatsoever? Councilor Sorensen?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I'm not sure who sits on this committee. Yourself? Okay. I just have a question. In the letter, it states that not all municipalities have committed to the formalization of the long-term regional partnership, et cetera. Are they still in agreement in paying what they agreed to initially?
Yeah, just maybe Mr. Tebow, you can help me out a bit. You also sit on that for the most part. And so I guess some things are still in the works to answer that question as far as the partnerships, et cetera. But this was, these figures were calculated sometime back for an equal share based on the population, correct, Mr. Tebow?
That is correct. So while there's been no commitment, formal commitment from all the parties to further projects, the previous projects that were committed to, I think Cypress County was the last ones to provide funding, and they committed to $800 and some thousand, and they have actually paid that $812,000 towards this portion of this project. I believe it's the commitment to further projects is kind of what's in a state of flux. And it's almost always been in a state of flux since we've been there, as far as Lethbridge participating, Medicine Hat in or out, or Cypress County being the latest one that's sort of removed themselves. So that really hasn't changed, but from this funding perspective, everyone that committed has paid.
Right, thank you. Councilor Sorensen?
Can I just,
Sure.
so the outstanding amount of $2,600,000 and change, that is still, the members are committed in paying that outstanding amount, which is on whatever, the budget and funding summary. Just under notes, and there's a table. Page 142. I think you've answered it, but I just wanted to make sure.
Yes, that is correct. Everyone else has committed to that.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Councilor Rufford?
I'm ready to make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
All right, very well.
But I am not on the right page. I make a motion that council directs administration to approve the remittance of $184,263 to the municipal district of Tabor for the town of Tabor's remaining partnership contribution towards phase 2/3 of the Horsefly Spillway project of the South Regional Stormwater Drainage Committee. Furthermore, that the contribution be funded from reserves.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor?
In favor.
Carried unanimously. Thank you. All right, on to item 710, Proclamation National Depression Screening Day. Mr. Tebow?
So what's in front of council, as all administration knows as well. Since I've been here, I don't think I've seen this proclamation come our way. I don't recall 100%, but I don't know if council has any comment around that. Administration really doesn't know anything more than what is in the RFD for council, so over to you.
All right, thank you. Councilor Beckering?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think Mr. Tebow is correct. I've never seen this before. Just reading it makes me depressed, so what do we do?
Yes. Yes, nor have I seen it. That's accurate for sure. Thank you. Councillor McLean?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think that it's important to recognize that it is a thing, and so I am prepared to make a motion that council accepts the National Depression Screening Day proclamation request as information only.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor?
In favor.
Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 711, information for, 711, information for council. Mr. Tebow.
Okay, mostly me. Let me read off my computer because I can actually read that. So the very first item we have is an annual picture, FCSS, and as I usually do, I would like to defer to Mr. Beckering. I see you're in the picture, so you made it. For the regional model. So, Mr. Beckering, if you had anything further to add about the event of the evening?
Councillor Beckering.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. It was a nice evening. Even the beer was not too bad price.
Yes, bonus, absolutely.
Short and sweet. Thank you, sir. At the May 12th meeting, we had a resolution from Councillor McLean about the feasibility of installing recreation signage along 864. We're going to put that information item to bed, call it completed, and administration is in contact with Alberta Transportation, which will be a bit of a process, but we will be looking at updating that signage. And in addition to that, this is the blue signage that's on Highway 864. We may be looking at something that's actually trout pond related signage that's not on Highway 864 for ourselves. So we'll see that again in the standing items list. Item number 3, this is the capital projects listing. So I don't know if council had any questions around any of the specific projects. I have the directors here if there was anything specific or any questions that council might have. Just to note that our projects are getting quite a bit up to date. They're in the last 2 years. I think there's one project that might be a little older, but certainly been cleaned up since the beginning of my time.
All right, thank you, Councillor Reffert.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, you're happy with how they're all going? Like, everything's looks good?
Gee, that's a loaded question. Am I happy with how they're all going? From a funding perspective, I'm still happy. How fast they happen sometimes, not as happy, but that's not something that we can always control.
Right, thank you. All right, Councillor Sorensen.
I just wanted to note that I do appreciate whether you say it's above budget or if it's at budget, just for peace of mind, I guess, for me to see that. So thank you for adding that in there.
All right, thank you.
Item number 4, Mr. Mayor and Council, is just the traffic committee minutes, and a little more detail for item number 5 coming from those traffic committee minutes. Mr. Mayor had a resolution in the standing items list that was to have administration go away and talk to the traffic committee about the Barton Drive intersection by the Smitty, No Frills, and Shoppers Drug Mart area. There is a bit of a lengthy explanation there, but to sort of sum it up in short form, administration would really prefer to have all the information in front of us to make what we'll call a better or a well-informed decision around that intersection. There's definitely some intersection improvements that look like they need to happen, but to do an interim, what we'll call a quick reaction, might not end up helping us in the long run, doing something without all the information. So information is forthcoming, area structure plans are forthcoming, and that's kind of where administration would be leaving that until we gather enough of that information to make a well-informed decision on that intersection.
All right, thank you, and thank you for that follow-up as well. Councillor Sorensen.
If it's okay, I have a comment on the traffic committee minutes.
Sure.
I just see for council request for the crosswalk of 43rd Street and 54th Ave. I guess we could have made that motion a little bit different, sent it back to the committee. It seems like, yeah, they would have liked to be part of that discussion. So moving forward, I'm learning from that and
Yeah, you're right.
we'll
That is
change.
typically the proper method. You know, council does have the ultimate decisions making in that regard and can, you know, go that route, but typically it is to go to the traffic committee first, then back to council. You're right. Councilor Bruin.
Thank you. In regards to that same topic here, it seems like we've confused the traffic committee, for asking them to put the lights here. And so I'm reading this, they do not want to do it now, or they're going against our motion, or how does this read?
No, there is no going against the motion. There was discussions around what our typical standard would be and what precedent it might be setting, but ultimately council provided the direction. And so, as mentioned, it will have paint, it will have signs, and it will have flashing lights. It'll just take a little while to get to the flashing lights portion, just because there's other things that have to move, Fortis and Canada Post.
Yes, it
So-
says here also motion did not include capital budget funding. So do we need a motion to support it comes from capital budget or to make it easier?
I think what we have what we need, Councillor Bruin, in your original motion. I think we're okay.
All right, thank you. Let's get everything covered. Right, no motion required. On to item 712, department reports. We'll go through those individually. If anybody's got a question, please advise. Starting with administrative service report. Economic development report. HR department report. Recreation department report. Councillor Sorensen.
I'd just like to thank Mr. Mike Melham as he's retiring from the town of Tabor. So I'd like to congratulate him on retirement, and I hope he has a great time, and thank you for his service for the town of Tabor.
All right. Thank you, Councillor Sorensen.
I can confer he's having a great time. Retirement is up his alley. And thank you for that.
All right. Next up is CAO report. Mr. Thibault.
Mayor and Council, I wanted to publicly acknowledge Town of Tabor staff in this particular report. While it won't show up until next month, Town of Tabor staff did an extremely great job, really showed up for the community for our July 1st week. So we had a Tabor 120 birthday party, well organized. We had the regular Canada Day ceremonies organized well, like per usual. And then we rolled right into the summer games. And anyone who participated in that, perhaps these medals that we see hanging here was a show of that participation. Very, very good. Councillor Remford. Staff did an amazing job. Like I didn't hear hardly any negative anythings, and I don't even know everything that was going on, obviously, in the background and down in the, down at the coalface and people front facing. So I'm very proud of what the staff members were able to accomplish. It was no small undertaking, and they did a fantastic job. So I just wanted to recognize them for that.
All right. Thank you. On to the fire department report. Planning and development report. Engineering and public works reports. Treatment facilities report. Facilities management report. And corporate service report. Mr. Thibault.
I'd just like to have Mr. Rob Osmond come forward for the corporate services report, please.
All right, thank you, Rob.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to, on the last page of the corporate services report, I have finance statistics report. I snuck this in on my last report. I'm sure some of you saw it, hopefully all of you. But I did want to draw some attention, particularly to the unrestricted reserve balances. So at the town of Tabor, we rely heavily on our reserves. There are some other methods of funding that we rely on less, namely borrowing. And when you have a system of funding that relies heavily on the reserves, we need to keep a close eye on that number. And so the unrestricted capital reserve number has fallen to $4.5 million. And I just bring that to council's attention because although we do each year in the budget include an amount to come back for capital projects, this is the money beyond that. And so when we make motions like we did tonight to fund the partner payment for the horsefly, or at the last council meeting when we looked at expanding the budget of capital project, and we say we'll fund that from reserves, that's the number that it comes out of. So because that number is getting small, and we do rely on the reserves for a lot of our funding decisions, I just wanted to make sure that it was highlighted for council where we were, because we're kind of at the one of the furthest points from refreshing that number with next year's budget. So just to keep an eye on it, and we'll continue to update that with all the council decisions. So when every month when this report comes back to you, you'll see where we sit.
All right, thank you. Councillor Sorensen.
Thank you, Mayor. And I think for me right now, just seeing that number, it's hard for me to compare. So I'd like a bit of history, if possible, just so we can see if it's more or less than previous years and previous budgeted amounts. Are you telling us that it's rapidly depleting and we should, you know, say yikes? And Mr. Beckring's like, yeah.
So the purpose of highlighting it is because $4.5 million in the scope of a municipality like ours is not a lot of money, and it would not be outside of my experience to see a council that could very quickly spend $4 million on priorities, and that's I'm not being critical of the spending. I'm just, because we rely on those reserve fundings, we need to be careful about that. I can pull some information probably to give you a look at kind of where that sat. I know I can certainly give you the year-end picture easily, but let me see what I can do to give you kind of some mid-year pictures just to see where this has sat at other times. But ultimately, the amount that we put in each year for capital projects and we spend in that capital year, that's kind of general capital funding. But it's this unrestricted balance, which is the amount of reserves that we have that haven't been pledged to something yet. So it's what's available to do things with. And so when it gets to be a small number, I like to highlight for council, because I've told you before, I have this number in my pocket all the time. And that's because as you make decisions like you did tonight, I keep a running tally against this number. So if it gets a lot smaller, I will start to hit the gong a lot louder, so that you know that it's coming. But
Yeah,
I got your back.
If I can just, Mr. Mayor,
Sure,
yeah,
yep.
just not to burden yourself too much with it, but just to create a history, just to compare it would be great.
All right, yes, thank you. Councillor McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Two questions. One is our restricted balance in capital reserves of 11.9, is that a good number in your opinion? And what is the process and how long does it take to access those to go from restricted to unrestricted? Not that you want to touch your restricted, I understand that, but I'm just saying if push came to shove, we were in an emergency and we needed to access funds, how long does it take to then access those?
So they are restricted in that they are dedicated to something else. So it's not restricted as in you can't access them right now, but you could get to them. They've been pledged, either been pledged to a capital project or they've been raised for a restricted purpose. So for example, if we raise money from a developer for offsite levies, those sit in an offsite levy reserve. We can only use them for the payment of the project and the offsite levy amounts. There's also, in that one, I believe, is also municipal reserve funding. So there's a very specific set of things that can pay for. And so the restricted implies that it has been dedicated to something, whether it's offsite, a capital project. So you could have a capital project that, in theory, you could have a capital project that comes in significantly under budget, in which case you could then have money move from restricted to unrestricted. But everything in that pile has been pledged to something.
Right. All right, thank you. Anything else to add there? All covered? Okay. Thank you. No motion required. Item 7.13, Mayor and Council reports. Councilor Beckering, would you start us off, please?
Nothing to report, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilor McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I participated in the meetings that I was responsible to attend, and I also participated in the Tabor birthday party, which was awesome, and the Canada Day celebrations, and then also the summer games. And I would just like to thank the town for all of the hard work that they did put into all of these events. It went off really well, and I got a lot of comments back. Not only when I was a volunteer at the summer games, but also before when I had family participating in other events. They heard a lot of really good comments that the town really does take care of all of our facilities and all of our parks and playgrounds. And anyways, it was really well done. So I thank you for that.
Thank you, Councilor McLean. All right, Councilor Sorensen.
Mixing things up. Good thing I don't have to follow this guy. I was just saying that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Sorry. I attended all my meetings. I attended a lot of the community events, and I am just the greatest supporter of our community. I can't thank anyone enough for helping with, all of the events and the summer games and even the athletes. I think we have 400 participants just from our region, just from the MD of Tabor. So thank you to everyone who participated, and congratulations to the winners.
All right, thank you. And Councilor Bling, or Councilor Remford?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You go right ahead.
Yes, I attended all the meetings I was able to attend. I'd like to follow in with CEO that it was probably hell week for some of our administration, having them back to back to back. That was a lot of work. The birthday was great. The video was great. Canada Day was great. Summer games was great. I got to participate in some events. The fun run out at the 3K, 10K out at Trout was unreal. And the soccer was all good. I did win 7 medals, so if each of you would like one, I know Carly's not here, I could present you with one of my 7. But yeah, I'd give them up. Yeah, just for a picture. No, I just want to, like I said, thank administration, thank our volunteers. Summer games is the best. It's been a great summer for the town, and congratulations to all the guys that helped out.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you, Councilor Remford. Councilor Bruin.
Oh, and corn stalks this weekend coming up.
It is. Councilor Bruin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended all the meetings I was required to attend. I partook in some of the 120 birthday day celebrations. The concert was fantastic, and it was good to see all the people that came out to see it. I felt very proud to be a Taborite during our celebrations there. The town did a fantastic job, as well as the volunteers. It makes us all realize why we like being in Tabor, and it was all good. And I'd like to suggest maybe Danny paid a few of the judges, but
nope. All legit.
All legitimate wins. Hey, good for you. All right, thank you, Councilor Bruin. And for myself, I attended a variety of meetings and took care of document and/or check requirements. Mr. Tebow.
Just wanted to remind you, Mayor, that I believe Councilor Firth is online. I don't know if she had anything.
That's correct. Yes, yeah. Thank you. Yes, I will get to her also. But you're right. I did actually miss it. Saying that. Thank you for that. So actually, with that, I will ask Councilor Firth to present, if you don't mind. Councilor Firth.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to, there'll be a lot of repeats, but I also attended the Tabor 120 celebration, Canada Day, Summer Games, Southern Alberta Summer Games. And again, a shout out to all of the staff and all of the volunteers that made it happen. Yeah, it certainly makes me proud of our community and glad to be a part of it. I also attended a Cornfest meeting at the Chamber, a barbecue from invitation from MLA Grant Hunter, the Alberta Association of Police Governance. We are hosting the convention in 2026, and I attended the planning committee day with the group that came from around the province. I also attended Camp Day at Tim Hortons and the Sterling Settler Days Parade just on Saturday. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Councillor Firth. And once again, for myself, I did attend a variety of meetings, took care of document and check signing requirements. Also did a local Tabor Times interview. I did attend the Southern Alberta Summer Games barbecue volunteer kickoff. Attended the Cooley Clinic barbecue invite and pediatrics training retention meeting. Also attended the Bob Miller sign naming recognition event at the Ken McDonald's field. I attended the Parkside Manor seasonal lunch and wind-up invite. I also did attend the Town of Tabor 120th birthday celebration, along with the July 1st Canada Day events and the Southern Alberta Summer Games 4-day event, including opening and closing ceremonies. And to reiterate, can't thank everyone enough for our administration was part of that. All of our council members involved with that, and council support, Tabor MD council support, all the many volunteer support, and the many athletes involved that totaled some 1,700 athletes within the region. And many comments, as Councillor McLean had indicated, and it was a really great event all totaled. 6 days of busy activity, bonus and showcasing the town of Tabor and area, and very well done, along with the sponsors, the many sponsors and volunteer efforts attached to that, as well as the commitment of the actual volunteers and all the fun they had participating. So thank you for all involved. That was an extraordinary event for the town of Tabor. The Tabor Motocross Championships, attended that also, as well as the Grant Hunter UCP barbecue event at the Birds of Prey Center. I attended the Tabor Evangelical Church invite, along with the Senator's Dinner invite at the Lethbridge Exhibition location. First time I've ever met senators. Six senators, 2 Alberta senators were there in our presence and are very interested to attend Tabor at some point down the road. So would very much appreciate an invite that I don't believe anyone would have any objection to, but they're more than interested in what's going on in the region, and that was the purpose of their initial tour of that event, and they will be back. I also attended the Tabor Library Summer Reading Program invite, along with the Tim Hortons Camp Day and fundraiser invite. I attended the new business visits as well, along with the economic development reps, Amy, along with Ann from the Chamber, and Elviro for the Chinook Community Futures as well. 5 different businesses we attended there, and it's been since posted on our website, so very well done in that regard also. I did also attend the MDF Tabor Airport Council meeting, and attended the Tabor Shooting Foundation Range Trap and Skeet Range invite via Ellen Herbst, as well as attended the Lethbridge Filipino Fiesta Extravaganza invite this past weekend at Henderson Lake Park. That would be my report. Any other questions, comments? All right, seeing none, no motion required. Moving on to standing item request 714, council requests. Mr. Tebow.
Okay, into the listing. Resolution 131, 2025, that was moved by yourself, Mayor Prokop. We've listed it as completed on this particular request because Councilor Renford had made a further request when administration came back and made a presentation. So I believe that was resolution 178. And so while it's finished on here, administration is still working on the wheelchair accessibility through the motion made by Councilor Renford. 164, moved by Councillor Sorensen. We're considering that one complete. 182, Councillor McLean, we just talked about that one tonight, so we'll be considering that one complete for the next meeting. 183, Mayor Prokop with the traffic study and the Barton Drive. After this evening, we'll be considering that complete with some follow-up once we get some additional information into administration. And Councillor Sorensen for the 43rd Street, we completed that one last time. So that is it for our standing items listing. I'll turn the time back over to council.
All right, thank you. And with that, any new standing item council requests?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Bruin.
being that this is a new way we're doing our standing items, you would like me to just read my motion?
Yes, if you could read through the notice of motion. Council, we're trying to introduce the notice of motion concept that exists in the procedural bylaw and trying to get ourselves a little more prepared.
So you'd like me to read this first paragraph as well? Okay, thank you. Notice of motion here. Golf carts on municipal roads and a feasibility investigation. Residents of the town of Taber have expressed interest in the use of golf carts as a form of low-speed alternative transportation within municipal boundaries. And under the Alberta Traffic Safety Act, golf carts are considered off-road, off-highway vehicles and are not permitted on public roadways unless authorized by a municipal bylaw and approved through a ministerial order as outlined in section 120 of the Act. And some Alberta municipalities have explored or implemented programs permitting golf carts on certain roads, subject to safety requirements, operational limitations, and enforcement considerations. And a thorough understanding of the legislative, safety, operational, and enforcement implications is required prior to considering such an initiative in the town of Taber. Therefore, I'd like to make the motion that council directs administration to investigate the feasibility of permitting golf carts on designated municipal roads in the town of Taber, including a review of relevant provincial legislation, safety and liability considerations, potential infrastructure or enforcement impacts, and best practices from comparable Alberta municipalities, and to report back to council with findings and recommendations.
All right, thank you, Councilor Bruin. Mr. Thibault.
So being this is our first time in doing this for quite some time, notice of motions did happen previously. I believe Councillor Firth did a notice of motion back before I was here. There's no requirement for council to make a motion or to make a resolution on this. So what happens is a notice of motion, in this particular instance, Councillor Bruin gave administration the information. We created this notice of motion. There is no vote required. Administration will just come back with the requested information and an RFD for council to consider at that time. So it gives everyone a couple of weeks, us to create, and then in a regular council package, council to decide and give administration further direction. So that's how the notice of motion would work.
Yes, I can recall that also. It has happened a few times in my time, our time as well. So that is accurate as far as presenting the quarterly. There's really nothing further to discuss, whether you support or you don't at this stage. It's just basically to have council to give that some thought. And that will be an agenda item on the very next council agenda. And no motion is actually required at this stage. That is a notice of motion indicating just that to go forward to the next meeting for consideration, correct?
Yep, that's correct. And we actually have the ability to go to 2 meetings if in fact the request, if we can't get to it by the next meeting. I don't see why we can't for this particular one, but the procedural bylaw does allow us 2 meetings to come back.
Very well. Okay, thank you. So with that, there are still standing item council requests. If you so choose, we still entertain that at this stage. If you so choose, if you have something new you want to add, we can certainly look at that as well, and or with another format. This was presented by Councilor Bruin. Councilor Becking.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I just want to make a comment, if I may, regarding the new, well, it's not new because the resolutions, the procedural bylaw calls for it. I've always been opposed to what we have been doing, and I think a couple of meetings ago I said something about the park, I think, And I said, I never do this. And I don't think I've done one or two in the last 8 years. Because I think it gives opportunity for councilors or council to try and perhaps blindside administration in an unfair way, I think. I think the proper way is like we're doing, like Council Brewer, take notice of motion, and let's investigate it, and let's do this properly and move on from there. I appreciate the fact that administration is doing this. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions, comments? Okay. Moving on to media inquiries. Mr. Tebow.
Oddly enough, there were no media inquiries.
All right. No, I believe the media is watching on a regular basis, though, so that's, they report accordingly, so they're obviously taking an interest in reporting as a result. So moving on, ask for a motion to move into closed session, please. Motion on the table, Councilor Beckering, all in favor?
In favor.
Carry unanimously. Thank you.
Carly, we're going to take about a 5-minute break and a reminder that there is a separate link for closed session.
Sounds good. I'll switch to the other link.